Hey you guys, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to be testing out the brand new Viseart Soleil La Plage Palette. I am so excited to demo this palette for you guys. I'm going to be showing you guys swatches of all of the shades, and then I'm also going to be creating these two eye looks for you guys using every single shade in the palette. So I hope you guys are all excited about today's video. If you are, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, let's do some close-ups and swatches of all of the shades in this palette. So this is the new Viseart Soleil La Plage Palette. This palette is $44 and it has 12 eyeshadows in it. First of all, can I just say how much I love the packaging? I think the packaging is beautiful. You just pull this little tab and then it opens right up. You have a nice big mirror. So here are all of these shades in the palette. Let's go ahead and do some swatches. So we're gonna first start with the top row. The first shade is a pale yellow with a matte finish. Next we have a metallic shade that is described as being a yellow highlighting shade. Ooh, that shade is really pretty. Next up we have a peachy metallic. Ooh, that one is also gorgeous. Next up is this shade, which is a neutral nectarine with a matte finish. That one did not swatch like super pigmented. Then we have this shade, which is a soft yellow with a metallic finish. This next shade is a soft sea blue with a duochrome finish. That blue is so pretty. It reminds me of like a mermaid type shade. This shade is described as a red undertoned satin metallic shade. That one so far seems to have had like the best pigmentation. The rest of these are a lot more like of muted shades. I expected them to be more vibrant looking. Next we have another yellow shade, but this one is a duochrome with red undertones. That one is also really pretty. This next shade is a matte mustard yellow. I expected that one to be a little brighter as well, but it is a little bit more muted, just like the rest of the palette. Then we have a bronze nectarine with a metallic finish. Okay, that shade is very similar to this other one over here. I don't really like that those are so similar. This shade is a sandy medium neutral brown with a matte finish. Oh, that one did not swatch the best. I have found that these Viseart shadows don't swatch very well, but they normally go on the eyes like really nicely. So there is that shade. And the last shade is a warm deep brown with a matte finish. To me, that looks more of like a neutral or cool toned brown. So I'm not really sure why it's described as a warm brown, but here are all of the shades in the palette. So now that you guys have seen all of these shades swatched, we're gonna go ahead and start on the demo part of the video where I'm gonna create these two eye looks using every single shade in the palette. So the first thing I'm gonna do, of course, is prime my lids with my P. Louise base. So I am going to be creating two different looks with the palette. I always like to try and use all of the shades in the palette whenever I do like a palette review video. So I'm thinking I'm going to do one eye like a little bit more light with like the yellow and orangey shades, and then the other eye a more like dramatic look with the browns, maybe the blue. So I think I'm first going to start with the light yellow in the palette, which is this shade right here. And I'm just going to kind of pat this all in my crease area. This one does have a little bit of kickback. Like it is a little bit more of like a dusty shade. So just keep that in mind if you have already done your face makeup like me. But this is a pretty light yellow. It actually is showing up on the eyes better than I thought it would. I wasn't sure if this was really going to show up because it is so light. Next, I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to put this a little bit lower in the crease with a little bit smaller of a blending brush. I think this is the Sigma E25 brush, which is just like a tapered blending brush. And I'm just going to run this all throughout my crease. It doesn't have to be too precise, but I am going to keep it lower than the first shade. These are both like very light shades, so I'm really curious how this look is going to turn out. This might have been a bad idea, but we shall see. Now I'm going to take the like deeper mustard yellow, and I'm going to try and add this and see if we can deepen up this eye look a little bit. These colors actually just ended up being like lighter than I expected. I don't know, for some reason I thought this palette was more vibrant whenever I saw the pictures of it, which I'm not like mad, I guess, that it's not as vibrant. I just expected the shades to be a little bit more vibrant. But if you don't really like super bright colorful shades, you might actually really like that these are a little bit more like muted colorful shades. So these do have quite a bit of fallout. I am noticing that I'm getting a lot of like yellow underneath my eye. So now we're gonna move to the lower lash line. I'm gonna first take that light yellow shade and I'm just gonna kind of blend this all along the lower lash line. Then I'm gonna take like the orangey type of shade and I'm just gonna blend this like a little bit closer. And then I'm also going to add the like deeper yellow. So I went ahead off camera and kind of slightly cut my crease. This eye is looking like very light and natural at the moment because I wanted to save the darker shades for the other eye. But now we're gonna add some shades to the lid. I'm first gonna take this like light metallic yellow and I'm just gonna pop this right in the inner corner area and kind of blend it outwards. This metallic shade actually goes on very nicely with the brush. I love when I can apply metallic or shimmery shades with a brush because I can be a lot more precise than like applying it with my finger. Now I'm gonna add this shade right here and I'm gonna add this to the rest of the lid. This one is such a pretty shade. And now I'm gonna take this like super light yellow right here and I'm gonna use this shade to highlight my inner corner. Wow, that is pretty bright. That's a really pretty shade. I'm also going to apply some of that along the brow bone. Alright, so here is eye look number 1 complete. I really like that it is a like natural looking yellow eye look. If I were to do this type of look again, I would definitely use some of these darker browns just to deepen it up a little bit because I personally like to have like a little bit deeper of an outer corner, but I'm not like unhappy with how it turned out. You guys can see that you can create a really natural kind of like everyday look with the yellow shades. So now we're going to move into like the browns and this fun blue and red. I'm so excited to use those. So I am going to go ahead and use this kind of like light orangey shade again, and this time I'm going to use this one all in my crease as my transition shade. These mattes do blend out like very nicely. They are very easy to blend. They're not patchy or anything, at least these lighter shades. I'm curious how these darker browns are going to blend out. Hopefully they blend as nicely as the lighter shades have. I am also going to blend that along the lower lash line. Now I'm going to take the like medium brown shade and I'm going to first start by like tapping it on my outer corner and then I'm going to blend this lower into the crease. So far, I don't seem to be getting as much fallout on this side like I did over here with the yellows. I feel like those two yellow shades had a lot more fallout than these two shades that I've applied. And I'm also going to add this one to the lower lash line as well. Now I'm going to take this deep brown and I just picked up a little bit on like a tiny blending brush because I don't want to apply it too much at once, and I'm just going to kind of start swirling this around on the outer corner just to deepen it up. And once my brush is almost like clear of the shadow, I'm going to start tightly blending this into the crease. Then I'm going to press it right up against the lower lash line. I want to keep this shade like pretty close to the lash line since it is such a dark shade. So once again, I went ahead and cut my crease off camera. So for the lid, I'm first going to take this shade right here and I am going to just put this right here in my inner corner area. These shimmery shades in this palette are really pretty. Next, I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to apply this to like the center part of my lid. And then for the last lid shade, I'm going to use this one right here. And I'm just going to apply this on the outer part of the lid. This shade is like really pigmented. I feel like this shade would be so pretty like all over the lid. Same with the blue shade. I kind of wish I would have done a look with the blue all over the lid since this shade and the blue shade are so pretty, but I really wanted to use all the shades and I didn't know how else to combine them without doing it like this. So, and the last shade I'm going to use is this blue. I feel like this blue goes on like a little bit more like sheer than I was expecting it to, which I'm kind of disappointed about, but like it's okay. Like once you build it up, it definitely looks better, but I was just expecting it to be like a little bit brighter. I'm gonna kind of like blend this over onto the lash line. It is a really pretty shade. I just expected something a little brighter, but I still like it. So here are both eyes complete. We have a little bit more of like a deeper colorful look and then a more natural looking yellow eye. I am liking the palette, but I'm not like blown away with it right now just based on my first impression. It is a little bit more muted than I was expecting. I don't know why I thought this was like a little bit more of like a bright palette. I feel like some of the shades are really great and bright, like this one, this one. The blue, I expected it to be brighter than it is. I do like the shade. It's just not exactly what I was imagining in my head. I was thinking it was going to be like a lighter, like icy blue that was pretty like bright. I really love all of these shimmery shades in this palette. I think they're great. I do feel like this palette could use a few more deeper matte shades. I feel like a lot of these are just very, very light. Like this yellow and this yellow are both very light yellow shades. I feel like they could have just done with one yellow shade. And then I wish that this shade was a little bit darker, or they put another matte in here that was similar to this shade but deeper. If they would have put a deeper shade like this one in the palette, I feel like they could have done without one of these two shimmery shades, because on the lid they are very similar. Like I don't know if you guys can tell because it's kind of blended now between these two shades, but this shade and then this shade are pretty similar. I feel like they could have gotten rid of one of those and then put a deeper matte in here. These two matte shades were good. This one ended up being more of a light brown to me. I don't know, to me this wasn't showing up on the eye as a medium brown, but it was lighter than I would expect for a medium brown. But yeah, I wish there was at least one more like deeper matte shade in here. But overall, I think it's a good palette. Viseart palettes are expensive, but they do have really good quality shadows. The metallics in this palette are beautiful. The mattes blend honestly like so easily. Some of the mattes did have a lot of fallout if that does bother you. The deeper shades didn't have as much fallout as like these lighter yellow shades. The quality is definitely here with this palette. The color story, I'm still like undecided on how I'm feeling about it. I'll probably update you guys with how I'm liking this palette when I do my next eyeshadow palette ranking video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I do like the palette. I much prefer this eye compared to like the yellow eye. I do like the looks that I created, but it's not like my favorite palette that I've tried recently. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this palette in the comments down below. Are you guys going to be picking it up? So yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Also, make sure you guys have your notifications turned on. That way you don't miss out on any of my future videos. All you have to do is click the bell next to the subscribe button, and then you'll receive a notification every time I upload a new video. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.